so that you will get lots of support from academic support, and do use them, even if you feel quite confident with writing and researching. That is still worth seeing them, because they could again just raise your ability even more. So, but yeah, you'll hear more about that later.
Amazing, thank you, Sarah. Yes, again, we are speaking a bit into the future, so again, don't bog yourself down with these things. They will emerge, and when they do, we will send you out the necessary links so you guys will all be able to access those services if you need them. Particularly, I know that you have a great initiative by an organisation called Shades of Noir, who I also work for as well, and we do safe space crits, and these are particularly for any students from marginalised backgrounds who feel that they are maybe speaking about topics that they want to speak about in a different level of detail. I know they have dedicated tutors on that, particularly who will help you through that process, and they are just kind of off the books. An additional one-to-one tutorial where we kind of can't fill that gap, as we have set times and hours with you both. Yes, and Tara's right, particularly around anything around to do with race. Just very specific modes of questioning that you want to ask. I would encourage you to go there. They are bookable, and you can do that wherever within your schedule. So again, if you have some spare time and you want to look at those, I would encourage you to go look at those, and actually check out the Shades of Noir website in general, which is really student facing, and there's a lot of really valuable resources and different modes of writing, particularly, which I think could be helpful for you all. And then particularly for those who, especially maybe if English isn't their first language, or maybe you just struggle in writing in general. I'm a native English speaker, but I do sometimes struggle, and particularly if it isn't your first language, again, there are language development and different kind of resources around that, particularly for students who may struggle in that area. So again, please do access these services. They are there for you to use, and we have particularly modified hours around them. So again, maybe for working in different time zones, just kind of figure out how that could work for you. My apologies if they are odd times, but they are there, and they have the email at the bottom, languagedevelopment@arts.ac.uk. Again, just make access of all these resources. But again, these are all signposted, and if you are looking for it at a later date and you can't seem to find it, myself or Sarah or any of the tutors, or maybe even your fellow peers, can help you find and access those resources. Yes, just to read what Sarah is in the chat, she said she really suggests that you use language support as early as possible if you think you would benefit it. Yeah, and I completely second that. Just give yourself all the help you need. There's no need to struggle. There's no need to kind of feel that you're on your own, particularly within this process. We are all here to help one another, and so any resources that you may need, and ask questions. Just continue to ask questions. Just make sure you have everything asks that you need to know moving forward, and we will do our best to kind of make this an easy process. So there's a question coming in: is there one-to-one online academic support? I'm not entirely sure of the dimensions of the academic support, as they are not kind of exclusive to FDD. Sarah, I don't know if you want to jump in, if they are one-to-one, and how students can access those in particular. I'm not entirely sure. Sarah, do you have any starting points particularly for that question?
Oh, sorry, I was actually just answering an email then.
Oh, okay.
What did you say again?
There's a question coming in about whether there are one-to-one online academic support sessions available.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are, Young. So what you can do, anyone at any time anyway can book a one-to-one with academic support. So you could do that now. You can access it at any time, but we will also be putting on sort of nearer towards before Christmas some dedicated one-to-one sessions just for CYP. Okay, so everyone should be able to have one of those sessions. So, but again, I'll send information out. But if you want to see academic support now, I would just do that and just book one through the normal academic support portal. Yeah.
Amazing, thank you so much, Sarah. And yeah, I second everything Sarah just said. A resource that what I actually ended up doing is when I was doing my final year writing an essay, I actually just booked on all the kind of available slots in terms of speaking to as many different kind of forms of academic support as possible. You may not need them, and so you may be able to cancel your session, but if you set those in at certain benchmarks, you'll be getting a really wide range of feedback about your writing. I think that's super valuable. Don't think that, they're not there unless you need them. You should be using them kind of as standard if they're there. So I would recommend that everyone kind of goes through Moodle and tries to kind of educate themselves as much as possible, and then goes and accesses maybe Chasing the Wild Safe Space Crits and book something just in case. Again, the same with academic support and anything else that you maybe might see and that is open for you to self-select. Just do that now and set them in place. Yeah, and they can help with a whole range of things, as Sarah was saying: reading, note-taking, planning, writing, everything that we will have to cover throughout this unit. UAL has a service for. So again, please do make use of the services. And if you can't find a particular service and you want help with a particular kind of thing in particular, message us and we will signpost you to the relevant resources. But yes, as Sarah was saying, we do have sessions scheduled later that will touch on different elements of this particular unit, so don't worry too much. I'm aware we're coming to time, and this is the last slide that I'll be showing you guys. Again, it was really good to have you on. I hope to get to know you a lot better moving forward. So the final slide particularly is around UAL Code of Practice on Research Ethics. So again, any good researcher knows that there is a very strict rule of ethics when it comes to research. I'll just read through some of the PowerPoints in particular. First one is around respect and recognizing the capacity and rights of all individuals to make their own choices and decisions. This relates to autonomy and the rights of self-determination to all human beings, which acknowledges their dignity, freedom, and rights. So this is a very important component of research ethics, particularly those around vulnerable or special persons. And so again, it's just being mindful about kind of just being ethically minded in the way you're going about your research. I know that sounds super broad, but I think a real violation of ethics, I think you'll know that it probably isn't the right thing to do. But again, if you want any more clarity, myself and Sarah can help you with that. But again, just being ethical in maybe your research outcomes and actually your research methods as well, how you're gaining, particularly primary research, is super important. Secondly, the principle, apologies, of justice, which obliges the researcher to distribute equally the risks and benefits of participation in research. So again, this is around a risk to any persons, including yourself, participating in research, that must be weighted against any potential benefits. This is essentially just, don't put yourself and others in harm for the purposes of research. And if this is a likely outcome, then it isn't really a valuable, not that isn't a valuable piece of research, but it is of concern in terms of maybe the guiding ethics of that piece of research more generally. So again, it's to both participants and researchers, and just making sure that whatever you do speak about and whatever you negotiate, that it maybe can have some wider benefits to society, that knowledge at which you are working through, which is always a really great thing about research. If it really touches people in a way that feeds into what they're thinking about, then it's always a good piece of research. Well done. Sorry, just to go back to what Sarah was saying in the chat, so sensitive to others and being non-judgmental. Yes, exactly. And we all assume that you do have empathy, but that's what it is. Modes of empathy when you're researching, particularly if you're talking about very specific, maybe cultures and vulnerable persons, maybe if it's around particularly disabilities, maybe it's around gender, if you're specifically talking about trans rights, which I know someone spoke about, just being really mindful about the types of language you use. Yes, empathy. We always empathy, and this will be something we'll guide you through as well, but we assume that you are very empathetic beings. A lot of creative people are, so we don't really worry about too much in that sense. And the final point, just before we finish up today, is about benefits. And this is the principle, much like the earlier point, about doing good in the widest sense. And so again, all research tries to build upon its own knowledge and be useful in the wider context of where it can be located. So in terms of, it requires researchers to serve the interest and the well-being of others. And if you can do that, you've done a good thing. If not, maybe your topic's a bit more niche. As long as you've learned something and it's been done ethically, again, that's still a very valuable piece of research for your own reading. And it's that researchers comply with the principle of neither doing nor permitting any foreseeable harm, much like the earlier point, as a consequence of their research activities. And this is a guiding principle of non-maleficence, which I would implore you to actually go and Google, in the widest harm. So again, just kind of where it is contextually located, making sure that you contribute to that mode of questioning, that mode of research, and again, and build on your own knowledge. And maybe this might be something that you develop later on down the line. Because I realise it's a very smallish word count. Yes, thank you, Sarah. Yes, I had to Google that this morning as well, and I'm not an oracle of all knowledge. I have a lot to learn as well, but these are really basic forms of research. And again, we will be mindful of this for you, but we need you to also be mindful of this for yourselves as researchers, because that's what you are in terms of building your research. So I've come to the end of the presentation now. We're a few minutes over schedule. I can stay on for a few more minutes if ever anyone wants to have a one-to-one. If there are any questions that you want to throw to me, particularly about any of the things we've gone through. Sarah's also here to answer any questions you may have. But if not, you're welcome to leave. Thank you. It was good to see you all. And again, just spend today, I think, in the next few days going through Moodle. And if you have any questions following that period, then that's a moment to message myself and Sarah or to access the necessary resources in order to move forward. But I do really look forward to working with you all. And looking forward to getting into all your topics. Hopefully we can learn together, and I hope the next few weeks are going to be super fun. So with Hannah, you asked, with your plan, do we send it to you for next week? No, so you don't really need to as such unless you want some immediate feedback. But what we're going to be doing more generally as a group next week is going through people's individual topics in order to discuss. So it'll be more of a group setting again next week, but we'll probably get to more of the nitty-gritty in the one-to-one tutorials. But it's a good signpost next week. Yes, this will be online. Everything we are doing this term will be online. So just bring it with you and have just any kind of major umbrella terms that you want to talk about, and maybe between us and as tutors and as your group, we can work through that together. So don't worry too much, but more specific will be in the tutorials in week 3. Yeah, as Sarah was saying, any specific questions you have is more kind of what will be for next week, and then moving forward, that will be a moment for us to kind of dip into tutorials in week 3. We'll go through anything that you need and all the necessary help that you may need. Anyone else? I'll be on for the next 5 minutes. If not, feel free to leave if you've got other things to do. I'm going to go have lunch after this. So again, myself and Sarah can hang around for a few minutes more. I'll be online. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. It was good to meet you. Yeah, I'm starving too, Sarah. Don't worry about that. Thank you, everyone. It was good to meet you again. If ever you see my face popping up, or if you need to drop me an email, feel free to. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you all and helping you through this time. So again, there's nothing to worry about at all. And research is super fun, I think, as you all will find out. And so don't worry too much. Thank you. See you later, everyone. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. First session nerves done. I think once everyone logs off, I'll stop the recording because I just want to keep track if there's any comments coming up. But other than that, guys, feel free to leave. There's no obligation to stay. Thank you for your support, Sarah. It was really appreciated. It definitely took away the first day nerves. So Destiny, you're the only one on. If you don't have any questions, feel free to leave. And we can have a quick chat. Okay, so myself and Star will stay on. Feel free. Okay. All right, if you're going to go, see you. Have a good week. Do eat and sleep and exercise, all the necessary things, and yeah, really get into your research. So I'm looking forward to finding out what everyone's writing about.
Bye.
Oh, I'm just going to stop the recording. Sorry, 1 second. Just so that's